on, hour number 2. We've kind of flipped the script a little bit. We're going to get to the Lions, but look, it's not like yesterday's game was highly viewed. It's not like anything's changed. And with the college football playoff rankings coming out and Sully losing even more follicles on top of his head due to this topic, we needed to go with this. He's upset. He's dying on this very old Dick Shapp, Skip Bayless era opinion that you can't take OSU down for winning. And guys like David and I are like, yeah, you can. And it's not a big deal either. Let's go play the games. I think LSU's done a little bit more. I think watching those games back to back, I mean, come on. LSU made Georgia look like the junior varsity. And OSU was losing that football game until KJ Hill scored with 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go in the third quarter. All performances are not created equal. If Ohio State wanted to remain number one, come out and take care of your business. Don't fall down by 2 scores. Don't be down by 2 scores the majority of 3 quarters. Like, you got to do better than that. But Sully's doing this whole thing of if you're number one and you win, you get to stay there. Well, if that's the case, then Clemson should still be number one. They haven't lost in 2 years. I mean, you're making a face at me, but if that's the opinion.
No, and if someone wanted to argue that, I would certainly listen to it, but you're also talking about a resume comparison between OSU and LSU that is on a different level than a Clemson resume comparison.
Okay.
It's not, it's apples and oranges with comparing who deserves to be there more. You can make a legitimate argument with Clemson that you can't have when you're talking about those other 2 teams.
Let's go to Tony. 97.1. What's up, Tone?
Sully was talking about the comparison to basketball. I think another comparison to basketball is the committee was looking at maybe giving LSU kind of a home field advantage, having them play at Mercedes-Benz, stadium in Atlanta where they just got done playing, and they're, less travel for their fans, make the Big Ten team go all the way to Arizona, and pull one of, what they do with basketball sometimes.
Sure. And if you're the number one team, you deserve that advantage. I mean, to me,
Yeah,
Buckeyes will travel to the moon, so that don't matter to me. But, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. You think they took a little bit of that into consideration?
Sure. I mean, listen, bottom line is if Ohio State's number one, they're playing in Atlanta, and it's a Buckeye crowd. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't make a difference. I mean, does it help LSU? Sure it does. LSU, the last couple of weeks, has gone out. I thought LSU's performance at Alabama was more impressive than Ohio State's at Michigan. And Alabama's a better team. And I think their performance in the SEC championship game against Georgia was more impressive than what I saw from Ohio State. And, oh, yes, I think Georgia's a better team than Wisconsin. I don't think this is some conspiracy like Sully or somehow it's flawed. But the only hill I will die on, this is absolutely proof positive you don't want playoff expansion. Because Sully's not moaning like this, like the puppy I'm getting Saturday will be moaning as I don't sleep through the night for a month straight.
Oh, relax. I'm not losing sleep over this.
You are moaning.
Congrats on the new puppy, by the way.
Well, Saturday can't get here fast enough. I need another dog. The point is, you're moaning like this because you do believe there's this massive advantage to playing Oklahoma because there aren't 4 good teams.
Let me be very clear about this, though. I am not doing what the last caller did. I'm not talking about this in any type of conspiracy setting, guys. I'm not. Because once again, I said the same thing with LSU a few weeks ago. It's a principle thing. It's not. I'm not sitting here talking about conspiracies and they'd rather have LSU because it's closer. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just talking about if you're number one and you win, especially against a good team in a good game, I think it's kind of whack to move a team out of that. That's my only point here. No conspiracies.
Let's go to Russell, 97.1. What's up, Russ?
Hey, how's it going?
Russ, it's going well. What's on your mind?
Well, one of my things is, in the years past, when the top teams won, they never moved them. It hasn't been until they created this, the show of, who's in, who's out, and they started really to move teams. I think it's all just to get people talking about it and moving.
Absolutely. And they do it. They do it as the season goes along. You've watched that. Why do you think Georgia was 4 and Utah was 5? It's because
why do you think that Clemson was moved out to number 5 when when the show started, even though they were
exactly because the teams ahead of them, it would take care of itself. And if Georgia lost, Utah's in. If Georgia wins, Utah's out. Like, Russell, you can't be surprised that they flip-flopped him in the last week. It only means Sully hasn't paid attention for the last 8 weeks.
Well, right, but I mean, the other point is, too, but it was already set up to have Ohio State play Clemson because both teams have already also won a national title. They want to get new teams in there. They made them, forced to play each other.
I see that I disagree with. I don't think they care about that. I don't. I mean, listen, when they care about that is if there's an uninvited guest at the table. I think it's very tough. Like if it was Utah could go 12-0, beat everyone by 30. They would never make Utah the 1 seed. Utah will always be that 4. They're going to protect their interests there. But like here, no, I don't think that matters. The matchups are the matchups. I think they're both big brand, high caliber things. I'm excited about it. No?
Yeah, that was just my theory. I kind of like with Jimbo thinking that they're saying that they kind of wanted him out. I think the committee thinks that Ohio State was the best team, and they moved him to 2 to play Clemson. That's just they really want to kind of move it back to have that matchup to then set up the matchup of LSU
whether it's Buckeyes and Clemson or LSU and Clemson, I'm all in. There's not a bad game amongst those 3 teams. And ultimately, I'm continuing to present evidence, and Sully's just continuing to say the same thing. It's very sad.
No, you're repeating yourself, not me.
Not at all. I've offered layers, if you will.
This is just a subtopic to my bigger issue, which is the fact that the committee and their criteria, you never know what the hell they're thinking. Is it they can fall behind catchphrases like the eyeball test or, does conference title games matter?
So you'd like the BCS. Do you want a computer? Do you want a computer again?
No, I just want set criteria.
Because that's the alternative. No, you don't get that.
There's subjectivity, and every single week, we decided to do this week. We'll flop them to number 2 this week and then back to number 1. There's no consistency.
So you want a computer formula again. You want to go right back to the BCS computer. Is that what you want?
I would prefer that than this.
Oh!
Because there's way too much subjectivity.
Wait till the BCS computer spits out Navy as your number 1 team in America.
No, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen.
State, number 3.
Yeah, a 2-loss SEC team because of the formula over a 1-loss Michigan, and we'll see if you still like your Dell Power Book.
The issue is you just never know the criteria that this committee has.
You do know the criteria. Mike, you got to be 11-1 or 12-0 to even be in the conversation. You're going to go play these conference championship games, which hold a lot of value because of recency bias. And I've already told you, and you refuse to address it. LSU's performance at Bama was more impressive than Ohio State's at Michigan. Bama's better than Michigan. And again, LSU followed it up with the most dominant performance of championship weekend that we care about. They made Georgia look like the junior varsity, and Ohio State spent all but the last 2 minutes of their quarter losing.
The issue's with the committee, though. The issue's with the committee, not with that. If they just would have put LSU 1 last week, keep it that way this week since they won.
Why does that matter?
Because that's my whole issue here. My issue's not about Ohio State. My issue's not about LSU. My issue's not about Georgia.
He's yelling again.
The issue is the committee here, Mike. It's like I said, it's faceless teams for all I care. The issue is them constantly flip-flopping teams and punishing a team for winning.
Do you secretly like Ohio State?
No, it's nothing to do with Ohio State. It could have been Michigan State up there for all I care. Michigan, it doesn't matter.
248-539-9797. Sully's unhinged. The response is fabulous. Let's continue. To hell with it. We'll get to the Lions eventually, but I mean, they're a 3-9-1 dog turd that's really not going anywhere. And I've got some great stuff for you with the Lions, but as long as the feedback is like this, I'm into it. And you know what I'd like? Where are all my playoff expansion trolls? Where are they at? Forget about the conversation when your hero Harbaugh calls for it. Here it is right now in real time. Go 1 verse 8, 2 verse 7, 3 verse 6, 4 versus 5. These matchups would be dreadful. Dreadful. The reason Sully's moaning is because there's not even 4 good teams. Remember that the next time you want 8. 97.1.
Wow, I need a drink after this conversation, man. How about